Hey guys, welcome back to the Falcon Project on Calico's Garage. This is episode number 17, and in this episode, we're going to be doing quite a bit. We're going to install the engine and trans, the master cylinder. We're going to hook up the brake lines to the calipers on all four corners and also run all the brake lines. That's probably going to be about enough for this episode. That's quite enough. So, with that, let's get to it. All right, so I ended up getting this last brake line, soft line, whatever you call it, connected off camera. It turns out I had flipped the actual hoses. I guess there's a left and a right side, and this power stop brake kit that I got didn't come with any instructions, so it took me a bit to figure out how to actually put them on. And to be quite honest, I'm not sure if they are even connected right now, but they'll work how they are. So I'm going to roll with them like that. So I've got all four of those connected. So the next thing I'm going to do is start working on the master cylinder. I'm probably going to go ahead and get that mounted and connected to the brake pedal, and then I can bench bleed it. And then once that's done, I will start running all the brake lines. And I also have to hook up the line lock, so that'll be part of that as well. I'm going to get started on that. All right, so the first order of business is going to be hooking up the proportioning valve to the actual master cylinder. I ended up spending probably more than I needed to, kind of overkill, but I figure brakes are something that are pretty important. You want to be able to stop, so I don't want to skimp on that. So I went ahead and got this Willwood kit. It comes with pretty much everything that you need, and it includes like the bracket to attach to the master cylinder. It comes with the tubing to connect this to this, and then you pretty much will then connect your brake lines that you run out to the actual corners of your car from here, and then you can adjust the proportion for front to rear. I'm not entirely sure exactly how to determine that, but I'm imagining it's something, once you get it all hooked up, you can kind of drive it and then test it and see, if it feels like you're locking up the rears before you slow down, you want to put more toward the front. I'm sure there's videos I can watch on it, but I need to get it set up and installed first, so I figure we'll do that. Definitely want to put Loctite on things you don't want to come apart, and I figure brakes coming apart is not a good thing, so we'll put some on here. Okay. All right, so the plugs, which are going to go on this side, and then the adapters, which go on this side, which these connect to, they all need to get torqued down to 20 to 25 foot-pounds. So we're going to call it 25 foot-pounds because brakes. So let's get that set. Okay. I thought these were plastic. They look like plastic, but they are actually aluminum, which is kind of cool. I guess it would be better than plastic, right? Okay. Go. Perfect. Just like that. Now let's put it on the car. so we're going to run or measure and cut the brake line. And I got this tool here, which will take this curved, spirally, really unusable line and make it arrow straight. You just run it through and it comes out perfectly straight. It's like the best thing that you can ever do if you're running brake lines. So I'm going to get this measured out and run it to the back. There we go. That's better. There we go. Nice and easy. There we go. The rear brakes are hooked up. Got all the lines run to the calipers. And I've got the connecting hose run up there and connected to the line that goes to the front. The only thing left to do back here is I guess put a zip tie or something to secure this so it's not just kind of bouncing around. Ideally, the block here, it's got a hole in it. You would attach it to the vent with a vent bolt, but trying to find something that fits this, which from what I can tell, it is just 1/8 NPT thread, but there is nothing that I can find that fits that. I suppose before I got everything hooked up, I could have drilled and tapped it to something that would fit, but it's too late to do that now because it's already all installed and everything, and I don't want to drill and get a bunch of metal shavings inside that I can't get back out. So it is what it is. I'm just going to put the vent that came with it back on there. It's just like a little, basically a little 1/8 plug that's got like a breather cap thing on it. And I'm just going to run with that. So I guess the only thing left is to run the front brakes and attach them to the line lock. So let's do that. All right, we have come to the point where we are ready to start bench bleeding the master cylinder and proportioning valve. Got it all hooked up here with the bench bleed system. So what will happen is when I push the brake pedal here, you can see that right here, it's going to push the plunger in. These are going to be full of brake fluid. It's going to push them down these holes. So this is the, I think this is the rear, this is the front. It'll go through these pipes here into the proportioning valve and then out through these two ports here and here, and it will then cycle back up and into the master cylinder. So it's kind of like a loop, so that none of the fluid is going to spill out, and also it's going to continually push the air out of it until there's no air. That's kind of the whole purpose of this, is to bleed all of the air out of both the master cylinder and the proportioning valve till it's nothing but fluid. Then at that point I can disconnect these and hook up the actual lines. So this is going to be the rear, this is going to be the front, which goes over here to the line lock. And I put this cardboard here to catch any drips, because brake fluid and paint are not friends. So if you get any brake fluid on your paint, the paint will leave the chat. So hopefully that won't happen. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm also going to be using this Willwood high temp racing brake fluid. It says it's good up to 570 degrees. I surely hope that my brakes never get to that temperature, but once again, brakes, better safe than sorry. As much as this stuff costs, I'm getting every last drop out of it. Good enough. Now let's start pumping the brake. Okay, I was able to get the bleeder hoses disconnected and the actual lines hooked back up without making too much of a mess. Thankfully, I didn't get anything on the paint, so that's good. The only line I have to connect or tighten is this one, and I can't use my normal flare nut wrench because it hits the brake sensor. So this is what sends the signal to turn the brake lights on when it senses pressure. And it is conveniently located right there. So I'm going to have to use a regular 3/8 wrench and just hope that I don't round it off, because that'd be pretty sucktastic. But we'll just take our time, be safe, and not over tighten things, because that's when you get into trouble. That feels tight. Okay, that is pretty much the end of this part. So now we get to go to each of the four corners and actually do a bleed of the line to pull the fluid from here to each of the brake calipers on all four corners. So it has to fill all these lines, travel around and stuff. So it's kind of going to be a bit of a process, because I can only do so much, and then I have to come back and refill this, because obviously this you don't want to completely empty, otherwise you're going to get air and then you kind of are back to square one. So we'll take our time and do it as good as we can, and hopefully it comes out good. Let's find out. Okay, so for bleeding the brakes, I got this kit here. So pretty much you hook this vacuum up. Let's see if I can set this down. So you hook this vacuum up and you keep pumping this to build a vacuum. And then it hooks to the bleeder hose up here, or bleeder screw, sorry. And then once you've got the vacuum, you undo the bleeder screw, and then you'll see the pressure start dropping as it is sucking the fluid from the master cylinder up front through all the lines, and eventually it'll start coming out here. We'll start seeing the fluid coming out. I've done it a few times already, and the fluid's gone down a little bit, but it's definitely going to be a long, slow process. So I will catch back up with you once I start getting fluid coming out of here, and hopefully that won't be too much longer. Well, I got all four corners of the car bled. I got fluid out of all of them. Then I came back up here and topped off the master cylinder. And then I figured, well, let's see what the brake pedal feels like. And as I can conveniently grab it here because there's no trans tunnel, but watch those fittings. Yeah, those are still leaking. And I am about ready to just rip this thing off and throw it in the middle of the yard because I don't know what else to do. I am completely at a loss here. The only thing I can really think is to take it off and drill and tap it for 1/8 NPT, and I've got some adapters for that. That might be what I have to do, which sucks, but desperate times and all. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I got the proportioning valve off and I went ahead and drilled it. It actually goes in pretty far. You can see this is the rear, which is working just fine. So you can kind of see the difference between this one and the other two, how deep in I had to drill. And now I'm going to go ahead and tap both of these with the 1/8 NPT, which will then allow me to use this, which is 1/8 NPT thread, and then it basically makes a brand new hole similar to this one in the rear that isn't messed up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and hopefully that'll fix it. I think this is going to work. Okay, one down, got the plug in. So now we're going to put this one in and hope that that goes in as good as this one did. I think we are good. I just want to crank this down as tight as possible. I do not want any leaks whatsoever. We have success. We got the plug and we got the new outlet. And those are in there as tight as they could possibly be. I don't see how it's any way to get them any tighter. So I think that will fix my issue. Fingers crossed. I have very exciting news. The brakes are done! Thank God! Got everything tightened up. this modification that I did works beautifully. There's no leaks whatsoever. Everything's nice and tight. I've gone ahead and bled all 4 calipers and filled up the master cylinder. The brake pedal feels awesome. I won't really be able to know for sure exactly how the brakes are until I obviously get wheels on and I'm moving, but I can definitely tell pushing the pedal that the brakes are working. So that is fantastic, and I am so glad that that's done. And also, along with the brakes, the line lock is done, which means we can cross that off, because I know that the line lock is on here, right here. Line lock's installed. That is another thing marked off the list. It is getting smaller each time, which is awesome. I was going to also put the engine in this episode, but I was definitely riding shotgun on the struggle bus on this one with the brakes. So I think I'm just going to say this is the brakes episode. One thing I will say, if you are planning to do brakes yourself, whether it is install a whole brand new system or, do some maintenance on your existing one, like bleed the brakes or anything like that, where you're going to introduce air possibly, I highly, highly recommend this kit from Harbor Freight. It is the Holt Industries. You have to have an air compressor to hook it up, but it works beautifully, way better than that little hand pump one. And also, if you're working on brakes, actually creating brake lines, get one of these. You will thank me. This is the best thing that I've gotten for doing the brakes. I wish I had gotten this to begin with. I think I probably would have had a lot less trouble overall. But the other kit that I have, so this kit is the one that I started with, and I've seen so many YouTubers use this one with no problem, but I just could not get it to seat properly. It would always be off kilter. When you tighten the one thing down, it's supposed to be completely flat, but like it would be kind of off to the side. So do not get that. If you're going to do brakes, get this. The one that I got is a Titan, and I got it at O'Reilly. It was a little expensive. It was like $50, but worth every cent, let me tell you. Okay, I think that's enough yapping. I am so glad that the brakes are done, and I learned a lot. I hope that you did too by watching me struggle with them. Maybe you learned what not to do in the future. But anyway, if you've liked what you've seen so far, go ahead and click that like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I release the next episode. Also leave a comment. I love getting comments. I try to respond as soon as possible when I get them. And also, I've got an Instagram account. It's the same Calico's Garage, if you want to check that out as well. And I think that is going to do it. I'm Chris. Thanks for watching the Falcon Project on Calico's Garage. See you next time.